Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. So my name is Colin Bradford, and I am the productivity coach for your office. Um, what we're going to be talking about today is it's going to be a high level conversation. So about a 30,000 foot above sea level type look at what the DISC profile is. Are people on here familiar with the DISC? And just take yourself off mute and say yes or no.
Yes, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
a little bit myself too.
Okay.
From bold. That's it.
From bold.
Not very familiar with it.
Not familiar with it at all. Okay. So basically what the DISC is, it's personality types. We all have each or traits of each personality type. It's just some come to the surface more organically or more, I guess, readily, depending on our situation that we're in or the stress that we're under. So what we've done, what I'm going to be talking about today is what each of the personality types are, some of the characteristics of each of them, and how we can communicate with each other personality type. That's going to help us with our communication with our clients, with other agents, and if there's anybody on here that has a team, maybe even with your team members or your leaders on the team, that kind of stuff. So it's going to make it make you a better communicator and influencer. And I want to say not even just in your business, but in your personal life as well. I made a joke. I make a joke every time I teach this class. I would have saved a lot of dating time if I, sent out a DISC profile to each of the girls that I was like, okay, before we can go on a date, let's fill this out for me and see how that goes. Wasn't until after I found my significant other that I learned a lot more about the DISC. And don't worry, I definitely made sure she filled one out, but it was more fun than anything. So I do love the DISC. I've brought it into, so I used to talk about it a lot when I was a team leader for an office in Toronto. And I really got interested in the psychology of the communication and even influencing. And every time I was researching more and more, the DISC profile kept popping up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to learn this. So now I became certified and I can teach it. And I use it pretty much in many aspects of my business and in my personal life as well. So I'm going to, I just got to move you guys up so I can see. Okay. So people are different, but they're predictably different. So we can predict someone's behavior just simply because we know their personality. So today we're going to be covering very surface level, like tip of the iceberg stuff. It's not, we can go into a lot of detail for it. So if there's specific things about your business that you want to work on, we can literally use parts of the DISC to help you get better at that. So for instance, if you have a team, building a team, like hiring talent, we put them through a process and we use the DISC to identify talent, or not even just talent, but if they're going to be the right person for the right role. Okay. If you're struggling with conversion, well, it's probably how you're speaking to that person. So that could be, it's a script thing, but also how you're delivering the script. Okay. Based on their personality. So we're going to touch on a little bit of that today as well. So a little bit about me. I don't like to spend too much time on it. I own Real Consulting Company. I built this company out of necessity, only because I felt there was a large gap in our market for support. Keller Williams is an amazing company for teaching you how to be a great agent. And they've got great models and systems. Where I felt there was a big hole was how to help people implement what you learn into your business. And there's a bit of a gap as well with regards to, there's a lot of training for brand new agents. Then there's a whack of agents that are kind of in the middle that have some training, and then there's teams and whatnot. And then again, there's some teams training and whatnot. But what I've found that there's a gap with regards to taking this information, these golden nuggets that even with family reunion last week, there was so many, and my phone's been blowing up this week simply because people are like, I want to implement that business or implement that thing in my business. How do I do that? So my business is simply taking the information that you learn, sifting through it, filtering it through, finding those golden nuggets, and then implementing those types of things into your business based on what your needs are. Okay. What I have found too, and the reason why I built this business is everything is important. And that's what we think. Everything is important. Everything needs to get done. I'm sure you've heard this before, where Keller Williams delivers content like drinking from a fire hose, right? It's like there's so much coming at you, and it's like, what do I need? And what do I need right now? And everything seems to be important. Is I also help as a coach. I help you prioritize your priorities and keep you focused. So I am a one thing coach. So one thing is written by Jay Papasan and Gary Keller. So I am an official one thing coach. I'm actually the only one thing certified one thing coach in Canada, which is pretty cool. So I go across Canada and I teach the one thing. I'm also a certified MAPS business coach, which is different than a KW MAPS coach. So I can coach everybody, not just agents. Okay. This allows me to, the material is very similar to what KW teaches or coaches. We just strip out the Keller Williams information, or the words, and we coach to that. I'm a certified behavioral consultant using the DISC profile, and I'm also a leadership coach as well through the John Maxwell team. MAPS Business Coaching is owned by Gary Keller. However, it is not a Keller Williams company. On the next slide, you'll see that we are partnered with Keller Williams MAPS Coaching. And then we have Abe Shreve, who is a former Keller Williams MAPS coach. He was one of their top MAPS coaches. He's our CEO as well. So there are some synergies with what we do offer, but I do coach a lot more than just KW agents. These are our sister companies. So we're the official coaching arm for the one thing. We are partnered with MAPS, KW MAPS coaching. And the reason why I'm allowed to coach KW agents is because you are part of the productivity coaching program. So you'd have to join the program and then I could coach you. But I can't coach Keller Williams agents if you're not part of the program, or if I'm not named as your PC coach for the office. So lucky for you guys, I am named as the PC coach. And then we also partner with Bold. Has everybody taken Bold? Okay, if you haven't, you will. It's fun. It's that program is developed. It's designed to help you build your habits. It is overwhelming. If you've taken Ignite, that's kind of like the beginner's course. It's like kindergarten, and Bold is like the university degree. So that's kind of the difference between those. Cool. So a little bit about the DISC. The DISC is it is a behavioral personality profile that they use, and each quadrant represents a personality type. We as humans have probably 2 or 3 as our dominant personality types, but we'll get into more details on that. It is similar to the other personality types that you have, but this is less cognitive, more internal, limbic. Okay. So we're going to start off with an exercise. So can everybody get a blank sheet of paper? And I'll give you a couple minutes, or a minute to grab one. Okay. Everybody ready?
Yep.
You good? Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to draw a line. I want you to draw a T in the middle of your page, similar to this. Okay. And on the top of the page, I want you to write active or outgoing, can be described as outgoing. And at the bottom of the page, passive or reserved. Okay. And then, this is basically what we're doing is we're describing the 4 types of personalities. And then on the left side, task oriented. So are you task oriented, or on the right side, are you more people oriented? And let me know when you're done. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about in this moment in time as where we are right now. You can change it tomorrow, you can change it in an hour, but right now, okay, where would you say you fit in with one of these quadrants? Are you active? Are you more outgoing but task oriented? Are you outgoing and people oriented? Are you people or like relationship oriented with people, but you're more laid back, more calm? You're not really the center of attention. Or are you more laid back and calm, and are you task oriented? And when we say task oriented, like, do you have a lot of lists? Do you make a lot of lists? And I want you to just put a little mark in one of the quadrants that you belong to.
Oh.
Okay. Now, if you've put yourself in the top, oh, geez,
Oh my.
keep going back. If you've put yourself in the top left, does anybody put themselves up there in the top left as a high? So that quadrant is what we call the D quadrant. Okay, these people are 3% of the population are D personality types. They're dominant, they're drivers, they're decisive. Okay, we're going to go through some of the characteristics, but also some of their weaknesses. Okay, in a bit, we'll go through each of them. On the top right, we have influencers. These are 11% of the population. Influencers, they're interactive and they're interested in people. They're very relationship based. Is there anybody on the call that are relationship based? High eyes. Okay, awesome. Then there's S people, which are people oriented. They're steady, they're stable, they're very passive, they're calm. That's the majority of the population. So 69% of the population are high S personality types. Does anybody put themselves up there? No? Okay. And then the bottom left is 17% of the population. They're the C people. They are the calculated people. They're correct, controlled, and compliant. They're like perfectionists. They love a lot of details. And I see you giggling because I'm assuming you're a C. Yeah. You're like, oh my gosh, he knows me so well. No, but that's, so we fit into the quadrant, each of the quadrants. Now, like I said, you have one or two that are your most dominant, maybe two, maybe three, but typically it's generally two. And just so everybody knows as well, these do change based on your environment and the situation that you're in. So if you're just sitting back watching TV, chilling, you might fall into, the passive, people-oriented. But if you start to get stressed out, you might see that your D kicks in or your I kicks in, where you just start, if you're an I, you just start talking a lot because you're nervous, right? So just be conscious of that. But that's why I want to make sure that where you are today, where do you fall into? Awesome. So when you think of your business and you think of these personality types, and just based on what I've talked about right now, can you identify some of the people in your immediate circle who you can literally identify? Yeah, that person's a D. That person's a C, right? Now, the interesting thing is, and I'll use myself as an example, I'm a high ID personality. I love relationships. I love people. I love talking. But if things don't move fast enough for me, I get bored very, very quickly. And that's my D starts to kick in. And I recognize that. So what I have to do with an I is I have to adjust my personality. It's been a lot tougher. I've gotten a little bit better at it just through COVID. It's tough doing it online. This class, I love teaching this class in person because of my high I. Because I literally walk the room and I can feel the energy. Through the computer, it's a little bit tougher, but I still do enjoy it. Okay. So some of the style characteristics for high D people, they have a high ego. Okay. They seek authority. They can be impatient. So when I said, when my D kicks in, things aren't moving fast enough, right? And my D kicks in, I just need to move on to the next thing. Their greatest fear, if you're a high D personality, is being taken advantage of. They desire change, so they get bored quickly, okay? And they do tend to do a lot of things at once. And they do respond direct to confrontation. They don't let it sit. They have a problem or they have a problem with you, they're not gonna avoid it, okay? Some of the strengths of a D personality, we're not going to go through all of them, but here's some of the strengths. If you want to take a picture of it, go ahead. But they are goal oriented. So in bold, for instance, high D personalities do really, really well at bold because it is all about goals. It is all about habits. It is all about tasks because they're high task oriented people and they're driven. Okay. They do see the whole picture. They're very organized. They seek practical solutions. They do move quickly. So what you'll notice in some job descriptions, like a lot of CEOs and executives are D people, D personalities. A lot of mega agents and mega team agents are D personality types. Okay. Like I said, there's only 3% of the population. They're strong-willed, they're productive, they're decisive. There's a lot of visionaries. They do work alone quite well. D personalities, actually, they're very good in crisis situations. So when COVID hit and everybody's like, what's going on? You want a D personality in your corner because they were like, it's okay, I got it, we'll figure this out, right? And they'll be the one to take the lead, to pivot and move around to make sure that everybody's gonna be fine. The D personality also, they have established goals. They motivate family into action. They always know the right answer. At least they think they do. They have little need for friends. So you'll notice that, when you see D people or D personality types walking around, you'll be like, no one likes that guy, right? It's very easy to pick out a D personality in a sales team. Very easy. Even in your friends group, because all you got to do is ask other people, who's the asshole in the group? And they'll all point to the same person. It's not that he is, or she is, that's just their personality. They don't have time for the bullcrap. So D limitations, so some of the weaknesses for D personalities is they're unsympathetic. They have very little empathy. So some people might be like, they may feel, well, it was very cold to talk to that person. They may find that they're cruel or insensitive. You might feel that they're argumentative, okay? That they have so many things going on that they can't relax. They won't give up when they're losing. They'll just keep going, right? Impatient with poor performances. They tend to over-dominate conversations. In their family, they tend not to let children relax. And they have a difficult time saying they're sorry. They get bored when they play games like trivia games and whatnot. They want short sentences and people to get to the point when they're communicating. Okay? Any questions about the Ds? So now that you know a little bit more about what D strengths and limitations, are more people coming to mind? Okay, now your eyes. Who are my eyes? Show me your eyes. I'm a high eye. This one's gonna be fun. We're the party animals. Everyone loves us, right? We like to be the center of attention. So with eye characteristics, eyes tend to be emotional. Good and bad, but we're emotional. We wear our hearts on our sleeve, okay? We are very people oriented. We're all about relationships. Our greatest fear is rejection. So if you think about your lead gen, How many, and I when I coach people all the time, this is why when I help people build their business based on their personality, the first thing we talk about typically is their lead gen model. And I ask them, what do you do for lead gen? Oh, I don't cold call. Oh, I don't door knock. I don't want to be hung up on or the door slammed in my face. Fear of rejection, right? Because you're typically high I's. Typically, I's are disorganized. Now, I do know organized I people. However, they're few and far between. If I showed you my office right now, you'd be like, yeah, you're a super high I. Yeah, it's organized for me though. We're always optimistic, super optimistic to a fault sometimes, and we're very encouraging. Okay, so if someone's having a bad day, the I person's always there. Like, hey, come here, let me hug you, let me get you out of this rut you're in, and I'll do whatever I can. A lot of servant leaders are high I's. Some of the strengths of a high I: outgoing and charismatic, warm and friendly, talkative, life of the party, compassionate, generous and sincere. They've got a great sense of humor, enthusiastic. They're good on stage. They have a changeable disposition. So it's easier for an I personality to change their personality, like to match. A D personality won't change. It's the D's personality or no personality. It's like, this is who I am, like it or love it. Love it or hate it, right? I's, they love to volunteer. Okay, so if you need stuff to be done at your ALC or within your office, seek out your I people, your I personality, because they'll love to help. They think of new activities. Everything looks great on the surface. They're creative and colorful. They start in flashy ways. They inspire others to join. Sometimes in the family, they turn disasters into humor. So is always liked by their children's friends. So they always like, yeah, you're the cool dad or you're the cool mom. As their high I's. I get called that all the time. Your dad's so cool. I'm like, yeah, because I'm a high I. They don't get it. They're the circus master. We got lots of friends and we make friends easily. And we thrive on compliments. Okay. And we always apologize first. Some of our limitations is we're undisciplined and we're weak-willed. Okay. Restless and naive. So we do get bored quickly and we move on to the next one. Undependable, disorganized, somewhat unproductive. If you've ever had two eyes in a room trying to get through a meeting, they just talk. So just be conscious of that. They exaggerate and can be a compulsive talker. They're fearful and insecure, egotistical and obnoxious sometimes, controlled by circumstances, so they have a lot of excuses potentially. They do get angry easily. And some people may feel that they're just blowing smoke up their butts, okay? They would rather talk than work. They sometimes forget obligations. They have limited follow through. So, and one of the things that I've learned about myself from being high I is I can take a project to about 90% or 95%. And then I get bored and I move on to something else. So for me, in order for me to succeed at my highest level, I had to hire a C personality to take it from 95% to 5%, just to get it done, because that's their sweet spot, and we'll get there to talk about it. They're undisciplined, their priorities are out of order. They make decisions based on their feeling, less than logic. They're easily distracted, and they waste time talking. Their home is somewhat disorganized and maybe a frenzy. Sometimes they don't listen to the whole story. If you're a high I, do you ever catch yourself cutting somebody else off? I'm like, yeah, oh, you're right, you're still talking. So what happens in a high I's mind is you're thinking about what to say next, not literally what they're saying. So it works against us sometimes because we're not listening to the full story. We answer for others. We just say, yeah, I know the answer, and we answer for them. And we do make a lot of excuses typically. So for S's, which is again the majority of the population, they're loyal and a gentle team player. Okay, they're a person of substance. They're very dependable. Okay, their greatest fear is loss of security. So they don't make changes very well. They don't like change because it feels that They'd rather, one of the things I say to a lot of S personalities is the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. That makes sense. So when they feel the loss of security, they're not, that is one of the tributes that we look at when we're building your business, because real estate is not, there's the roller coaster of real estate, right? Security is at a minimum unless you create the models and the systems to set that up. So they have a high level of trust. They can be possessive, and they resist change and adapt slowly. So if you have clients, and like I said, the majority of the population is S personality. So when you have your clients, learn these personalities, because this will help you through the sales process. Okay. Some S's, a lot of S's need their hand held through the process. We sell
Did you
houses
say
every
the majority of people are S's?
Yeah, 69% are S's.
Wow.
Hi, Joanne. Good to see you. So they're likable and diplomatic. They're efficient and organized. They love structure and systems. They're conservative and practical. They can be a reluctant leader. They have a low-key personality, so they do sit in kind of the background and don't necessarily speak up. They may tend to hide their comments or their beliefs just to let everybody else take control. And they're quiet, but they can be witty. They are sympathetic, and they do keep their emotions hidden. They make amazing parents. Nothing is in a rush. They're not rushing around. They're very calm and cool. They can take the good with the bad. They kind of accept it, so they're a bit more accepting. They don't get upset super easily. They're pleasant and enjoyable. They're good listeners, and they do have a dry sense of humor. And they do have several close friends. They're competent and steady, peaceful and agreeable. They do really well, like I said, in the structure, with structure. So they would be great in an administrative role. I do know a lot of S's that are great salespeople, but it doesn't come as natural to them. So they work extra hard. They have to work extra hard for that. They do avoid conflict, and they do work very well under pressure. They're very logical thinkers, but again, they're more about the safety and security of others and of the team. Okay. Some of their limitations are unmotivated or blasé. They're kind of like, yeah, we'll get to it. It's fine. They can be a spectator, so you might want more input from them from a team standpoint, or even if you have buyers or sellers, buyers might, the worst buyers to have are typically S people, because they either like everything or they hate everything. Right? Actually, if they hate everything, it's actually not that bad. S people are difficult when they like everything, right? Because you're kind of like, okay, well, let's put an offer in. Well, no, I'm not sure. I need to think about it. That's an S personality. So what we need to do is create those scripts or get into the motivation and paint that picture so we pull them along. I'll use real estate examples after to describe each of the personality types, so you can identify what they look like and how we can communicate with them on a better level. They're self-protective. They're indecisive and fearful. They could be unenthusiastic. They're quiet, but they have a will of iron. They're not going to change their position on a subject just to accommodate, but they're not going to be confrontational either. They're self-righteous. They're not typically goal-oriented. They do, not to say they don't have goals, but they're not super focused on the goal. Okay. They may lack motivation. Sometimes they can be hard to get going. They resist being pushed. So if you're a pushy agent, you may turn your client off if your client's a high S. They could discourage others. So if you have a toxic person or toxic mindset in the office, well, they can feed, the S can feed, because they do have influence and they have a lot of friends. So we got to be careful of that as well. And they're observers typically, like I said. They're undisciplined and unchangeable. They don't organize necessarily the home. They do take life fairly easy. They dampen enthusiasm, stay uninvolved, indifferent to plans. They're like, yeah, well, whatever's rolling is more of a S. Okay. They can be sarcastic and teasing, and they judge others. C personalities. Where are my C's? Yeah, okay. So your C personalities, they are considered perfectionists. They can be sensitive. Their greatest fear is criticism. They are accurate and they ask many, 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 many questions. And they require details. So with a C personality, this is again, with real estate, you want to show up to a meeting with a client, if they're a buyer client, with lots of data, with lots of stats, with charts and graphs and all that stuff. Okay. And the reason why is because they love that. And that's how you can communicate. And that's how they build trust with you is and validation with you is because you come across as you know everything and you have the data to back it up. If a high I personality is communicating with a C personality and you're just spewing stuff off and stats from your mind, you'll get challenged every single day from a C personality because they'll be like, well, show me that article. Show me that white paper that states that. What research paper did you go through? Like that kind of stuff. So you got to be very conscious when you're dealing with those types of personalities. They're analytical, they're idealistic, they are perfectionists, they're super loyal. They can be sensitive, self-sacrificing, so they do put others first. Serious and purposeful. They tend to be on the genius prone on that scale. Okay, they are very talented and creative. So when you have somebody like that on your team or in your world, they need the outlet to be talented, like to show they're artistic. My daughter, she's high C and she's super talented, very hard on herself like this. She needs the avenue to sing songs. Like she needs that platform to sing, and that's her way. And she writes songs. And that's her way to release stress. So we need to create these environments for these personality types as well. Philosophical and poetic, and they appreciate beauty. In the family setting, they set high standards. They want everything done right. They always pick up after children. They sacrifice their own will to accommodate others. They encourage scholarship and talent. They make friends consciously. So you'll see a lot of high C personalities. They may not have a lot of friends, but the friends that they have are super, super deep. Okay. And they're content to stay in the background and they avoid drawing attention to them. They're schedule oriented. Perfectionists have high standards. They're detail oriented. So if you want somebody to look over your agreement of purchase and sale, give it to a C personality because they will make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and that there's signatures everywhere. So when we're working on a leverage model and building teams, we use this obviously to fill particular roles within a company based on their personality type because we want them to thrive because that is their wheelhouse. They're very economical, orderly, and organized. They see the problem, okay? They find creative solutions and they need to finish what they start. And that's why when I said, I know myself, I can take a project from 0 to 95%. It's like kryptonite to Superman when I have to take it to the 100%. And I don't know what it is. So I've hired and surrounded myself with C people that will do it because I can't do this. Like I said, they like charts and graphs and figures. Some of their limitations is they're moody and they can be negative. They're critical. They're very hard on themselves, okay? They're rigid and legalistic. So they're like, oh, we can't do that because, the speed limit says it's 110. You're going 112. It's only illegal until you get caught. No, just kidding. You should do the speed limit. No, but when you're high C, you're a rule follower. It's by the book. There's black and there's white. There's no gray. Okay. They can be revengeful. They're persecution prone. They're unsociable. They're theoretical, yeah, and impractical. Don't quote me on that. Has false humility and has selective hearing. Okay. They're introspective and have typically low self-esteem, and they tend to be hypochondriacs. Okay. They could have unrealistic goals. They could be too meticulous. So if you're putting a C personality in a high sales environment, they could potentially get in their own way because they want their business card to look perfect before they go and actually talk to anybody, or their website has to be perfect before they actually make a first phone call. Anybody relate to that? They can become a martyr. They do live through others potentially, could be socially insecure, critical and unforgiving. Like I said, they're super hard on themselves and they may hold back affection. They're not typically people oriented. They can get depressed on some imperfections, and they choose difficult work because it's a challenge to them. And they feel a sense of accomplishment when they can solve problems and solve issues. You put them there. So a lot of C personality types work really, really well as engineers, as doctors, lawyers, okay? Because what they need to do is they need to take all this jumbled information and break it down into small pieces and then put it back together. Okay, and they do it in a very systematic way. So high C personalities are great for that. They may spend too much time on planning. They may be hard to please. Like I said earlier, they may have unrealistic goals and they have a need for approval. So when you're communicating with a C personality, it's always very, very important to compliment them and to say, yo, that's great. What you're doing is awesome. So when you have them on your team, because they could have a lot of self-doubt. Awesome. So how to communicate with a D personality? We want you to. So if you fall into one of these other characteristics, because if you're a D personality, you're not changing. Okay, but just be conscious of it. But if you're an I, an S, or a C, you have the ability to change your personality type to match. So when you're communicating with a D, be brief and to the point. Short sentences. Ask what, not how questions. Okay. Focus on the results and highlight the logical benefits. And agree with the facts and ideas, not with the people. D people are very factual. So tell me what the average days on market is. Tell me what my house is worth today. Right? Not, well, if we do this, if we do that, they don't want to know all that stuff. They just want to know what's it worth. They don't care how you got there. Okay. Discuss the problems in light of how they affect the outcomes. So you can't just bring a problem to a D personality and expect them to figure out why, right? And what the outcome's going to be. So tell them this is a problem, or we're listed too high, and this is what's going to happen if we don't list at this price for a D personality. Do not repeat or ramble on. Don't focus on the problems or be too sociable or too generalized. If you're too surface level, they'll get bored of you and they'll be like, here's my door, see you later. So when you're going to compete for a listing, for instance, these are things you want to consider in how you deliver particular scripts. Okay. Any questions about this so far? I'm just going to do a quick check-in because I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I'm okay because I'm an I. I do that a lot.
I'm just thinking if you have a D and an I sitting at the same table,
Yeah.
that's going to create some very interesting listing presentations.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
if your personality is a D and you're the agent and the seller is an I, okay, what will happen is the I personality is going to feel your impatience. So being conscious of this, right, of your personality, because we can't do anything until we know who we are. So if we fall into the D category, say, listen, you can even apologize in advance. Say, I'm sorry. So my personality is like, I'm here. Here's how I work as a realtor. And I'm here to get the best results. I'm here to sell your house for the most amount of money for the least amount of time. That's what I'm here for. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions? Right? Whereas if the D's on the other side and you're the I, they're going to try and control the conversation.
Yeah.
And with the I personality, you have the ability to adjust yours. You come in saying, okay, so this is a D client or a D personality. I need to shorten up my listing presentation by about 40 minutes, right? So now it's only 5 minutes long. I have to have all the paperwork pretty much filled out beforehand because he doesn't want to go through each clause. He just
Yeah.
wants me to summarize each clause. Blah, blah, blah. So you prep yourself based on who you're going to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I was thinking if there are a couple and one of them is a D and one is an I.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's a challenging. And yes, Allison, that might be why Jared doesn't take you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but those are my favorite though, because I can communicate. So I'm a high ID. So for me, it's like, yeah, it's awesome. I can communicate with both. But, you know, you have to keep the conversation moving or the D person's going to walk away.
Yeah.
Right. And the two I's, depending on who you are, you're not going to even get the paperwork signed. Next thing you know, you're sleeping over for the weekend. Like that potentially could happen, right? If you got two I's, it's like, yeah, we're having a party now, right? So,
Yep.
yeah. So how to communicate with an I is be favorable. Okay, build a favorable environment. So if your client is an I personality, go to their house. If you want the listing, go to their house. I know a lot of agents, and it's difficult right now in COVID, but even before COVID, we always, and I was always trained, bring them to the office, get them to the office, close them, get them to the office, close them. If you're in an I's environment and you make the effort to go there, then you're complimentary on all of the stuff that they've invested in the house. You have them locked. It doesn't matter how much, yeah, to an extent it does, but I was gonna say, it doesn't matter how much you spend on your listing presentation. If you just ask questions about them and their life and what they love, you'll win the listing every time. Trust me. Because they'll walk away like, oh my gosh, I connected so well with that agent. They're so amazing.
They're my new best friends.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, I'm gonna have them over for barbecue on Sunday. It's so exciting. I love it, right? But that's how you win those people. Let them talk about ideas. Share testimonials because they love to know. Those are the people that read the Google app or the Google reviews. Right? Allow for social time and write details, but don't dwell on them. Create incentives for follow through. What you should never do is eliminate social time. You should never do all the talking because a high I personality likes to talk. Don't ignore their ideas. So again, we work on scripts and communication based on the client that you're working with, and we adjust the delivery of the script. You're still going to get the information you need, but the way we're going to deliver, it's going to be a little bit different. That's all. And never tell them what to do. Anybody told an I personality what to do? Yeah, right. Don't ever do that, because they will literally tell you where to go. That's when my D kicks in. Anyway, awesome. So high S personalities, do build a safe environment because like we said, security is super, super important for S personalities. Show genuine interest in them. Define your goal and procedures and what their role is within the plan. They need to know what's going on and they need to know 2 to 3 steps ahead as well. Okay, again, majority of population. So when you're prepping a consultation or a listing presentation, show them the map on how to get the most amount of money for the least amount of time. They need to see it. They need to see the steps. Patiently draw out the goals and give them time to adjust. S's don't make decisions quickly, right? You may have to explain things a few times to them for them to move to the next step. Okay, they don't like change. Minimize perceived risk and assure personal follow-up. Okay, don't be pushy, don't be aggressive, don't demand or abrupt or controversial. Okay, these are the people that need a lot of hand-holding and love and support and fuzzies, like warm and fuzzies. Okay, if you have a D personality as an agent and you're dealing with an S, it's very difficult for the D. So you may want to consider sending another agent in to get the deal for you.
Are you going to give us this handout?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want it, for sure. And we're recording
Please.
this too, so you can.
Because I don't think I'm going to remember it all.
No, yeah, it's a lot, but and this is only the tip of the iceberg. Actually, it's the tip of the iceberg. So, so how to communicate with C personalities is do prepare the case in advance. Okay, so this is what I mean. Show up with your book of data to back up what you're saying. Use accurate data and assure them that there's no surprises. They need to see every detail. Use precise explanations and be super specific. Give patient and diplomatic explanations and do not refuse to explain the details or answer questions vaguely or casually, because they're going to call you out on it. Or they may not come out with what they feel or their comments, they'll internalize it. They just won't return your phone call. They'll just be like, they seem like a know-it-all. I don't know. I really like Janice instead. So I'm not going to use call. I'm going to go with Janice. It's fine. Right? and I'll be like, well, I told you everything. I just talked too much. That's all. So, so when you're, how we've broken this down is D relating to another D, how D's relate to an I, how D's relate to an S, and D's relate to a C. Okay, that's how this slide is set up. So D's, you have a mutual respect for each other. They must exist to avoid conflict. Both people must understand the other's realms and boundaries of authority. So have you ever witnessed two D personalities? They're like two bulls in a china shop. It's like, it's my way. No, it's my way. It's like, right? So just be conscious of that. If you're a D personality, you know you're a D personality, and your client's a D personality, there's a possibility that the listing presentation or the buyer consultation might go sideways. So being conscious of it's going to help you.
You have to pretty much sit down and keep your mouth shut.
Zip it, right? that's why you ask really short questions.
Yeah.
And as much as it's going to kill you to be because you don't agree with it and you want to tell them you don't agree with it, zip it, right? If you want the deal. If you don't want the deal, just tell them how you feel, right? So, with a D relating to an I, must be direct communication. Deal with the issue straightforward manner. Negotiate commitments and goals on an equal basis. With a D, communicating with an S, avoid being pushy. Recognize with sincerity the sincerity of the S's good work. Be friendly, more easygoing, and steady pace. So high D personalities, it's like, I just need to get things done. Right? So, and with the D, talking with a C, the D personality has to slow down. Avoid the tendency to omit or minimize the details. Expect the high C to ask questions, and don't view the high C need for information as opposition. They're just trying to figure it out in their head. So if you're a D personality, ask yourself, have you ever been irritated trying to explain something and then say, well, they just don't get it. I just need them to figure it out. No, I'm the only one. Okay, it's fine. So your personalities on a D, what will happen is, and we'll talk about it with a C personality, when they're dealing with the D, the C might internalize how the D's talking to them, that they're being an a-hole, right? They're so mean. Why are they talking to me like that? They're not making it personal, right? And that's what I try to say to people. It's not a personal thing. It's just, that's their personality. With a high I, talking with a D, high I people walk down the hallways and say, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? Da, da, da. D personalities just walk straight to their office, go in, close the door because they got stuff to do, right? It's not because they don't want to say hi, but they'll say hi on their terms. That makes sense? So, I see giggling and going on, yeah. Right? It's like, I'm friendly. Just ask me, but you're not. It's fine.
There must be a lot of people that have a little bit of both of two, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
find
And it's all there. And you might see too that there's going to be some people that are like this in their work environment, but different in their home environment. If they're with friends or with strangers.
Yeah.
So certain characteristics come to the surface depending on the environment that you're in. But this is cool. What I love about doing this is when we have big gatherings or networking parties or even dinner with the family, I can literally sit back and pick off people. I'm like, you're a D, you're an I, you're an S. So when I'm networking, which I love to network because I'm a high I go in and I get drawn to specific personality types because I know easy pickings, easy pickings, easy pickings. So now I go out and I'm intentional with my networking. I only show up with 5 business cards, and my intention is to give them out to people that I want to do business with, not everybody. Because I look at what kind of relationships work well for me and who I am, and I build my business based on that. That makes sense? I do it with the coaching too. I don't take on all clients. I don't take them on. That's why we do personality assessments up front, because I'm like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to work well together. I'm going to try it. But if not, I'll just assign you to another coach that I have. That's fine. But for the most part, generally speaking, because I do teach this, I can adjust my personality, but there's some that it's not a fit, and that's okay. So when relating from an I to an I, be friendly, complimentary, acknowledge each other's accomplishments, listen sincerely instead of planning what to say next. So like I said earlier, if you're a high I, you're not even typically listening to what's being said. You're just thinking, oh, what can I say next that's better or in conjunction with what they're doing, right? With I's to an S, slow down, be more easygoing, show appreciation, sincerity, and establish a friendship with a high S. Above all, don't be pushy. And with a C, present the facts clearly and be prepared for discussion. Expect the high C's to express doubts. Give them time to evaluate data before making decisions. So if you're doing a listing presentation, have you ever had a client that asks you all this information, tons and tons, and you just keep giving them info, and then at the end of it, they're like, let me just think about it. Let me just think about it. Give me a couple days. And you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, like just sign the paperwork. Jesus, right? It happens, but they just need time to digest it and put it together. Where high I people were just like, yeah, let's have fun. Let's do this. We're going to have so much fun doing it. Where C people are like, you're stressing me out right now. Like I need to digest the information. So, cool. S people, they need to be more assertive when they're dealing with a D. Recognize that a D may view kindness as a weakness. Deal with the issues in a straightforward manner and try to increase your pace. With an S dealing with an I, be friendly, complimentary, listen to the ideas, and recognize the high's accomplishments. Recognize and accept that the high I's experimental nature. So I's like to be recognized. They like hey, great job. Hey, you're doing awesome. Hey, recognize that. Okay. And I can't be more clear. I'm a high I. So show the love. Just kidding. S's, move to a steady pace, express appreciation, establish friendship. Remember that trust and acceptance are developed over time. Think long term. And again, S is focused on more facts over relationships. Expect the high C's to express doubts. Give them time to evaluate data and making more decisions. Okay, this is the fun one. C's, when you're dealing with a D, you must have direct communication. Deal with the issue straightforward manner, negotiate commitments, and end goals on an equal basis. Be friendly with I's and complimentary, and avoid the tendency to challenge the ideas of the high I by presenting data or asking them more detail. So if you're a C personality and you're going to see an I personality, don't bring out the graphs and charts and all the info, because it's going to work against you. I know you're going to end up saying, well, I did all this work and I got all these graphs prepared and they didn't even appreciate it and they suck and I don't even want the listing. It's not the attitude, right? It's like, just go in prepared based on who you're going to see. It'll work better for you that way. Be amiable and relaxed with S's. Work at establishing a friendship with a high S, and show appreciations for tasks done well. And with C personalities, focused on facts and details, remove apparent threats, plan carefully, accept and encourage doubts and questions, and provide ample time for evaluation. So if you were to say, I'll give you an example of each personality type in a listing presentation, okay? Because I think we're pretty much wrapped up, yeah. So if I was a D seller, a personality with a D seller, here's how a listing presentation would typically sound like. I would be the agent. Hey, Mr. Seller, I'm calling from Keller Williams, blah, blah, blah. You know, tell me a little bit about your house. So a D personality would literally say, hey, Colin, thanks for calling. Yeah, my house is, we live on the street, 123 Main Street. It's got 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's 1,500 square feet. Tell me what you think it's going to sell for. I saw the house down the street sold for, 500,000. What's mine worth? That's it. An I personality. Okay, here's an example of an I personality. Hey, Colin. Yeah, thanks for calling. No, it's so great. Yeah, no, right now is a great time to talk. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our house is 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Yeah, we live on 123 Main Street. Yeah, we just updated the kitchen. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, we have this amazing granite countertop, and we have so many parties here. It's awesome. Yeah, would you come over and take a look at it? And I want to show you some of the other upgrades that we've done. We've finished the basement, and yeah, all our neighbors love it. That's I personality, okay? Your response to that would be, oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I'll be right over, right? What should I bring? Potluck, no. A high S personality, what they would say is, hey, Colin, yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great day to talk right now about the house. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to go and get the kids. So I don't have that much time, but yeah, our house we live at 123 Main Street. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Yeah, it's such an amazing neighborhood. Like, we love it here. And I actually don't know why we're selling, but I know we typically do want to make a change. We're just not sure exactly where we're going to go. But we do love it here. The school system is amazing. Our neighbors are fantastic. It's such a great spot to be. That's high S, okay? High C personalities, they're like, hey, Colin, yeah, absolutely, it's a great time. Actually, I have about 15 minutes to, then I got to get off. So yeah, we live at 123 Main Street. We're like the 3rd house in from the corner. We have a 4-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms. The master bedroom is actually 10 feet, 7.5 inches by 13 feet, 2.5 inches. The ensuite, yeah, no, it's got a bathtub and a sink, marble countertops as well. The 2nd bedroom is 9 feet by 6 inches by, that's a high C. Okay. So does that help understand a kind of high level disc profile? I see Janice laughing.
I'm laughing at Aaron's comment. That is so me.
Oh, is it? I'm gonna stop sharing. So just so everybody knows, where'd my thing go? Yeah, if you have more questions about the disc, or you want me to talk about what your business is doing, let me know. I do have access to the disc. So if you're not part of the coaching program and you want to know more, just let me know, and we can talk about what the fees and stuff are about doing disc profile and whatnot. Does that make sense?
Now, Colin, where I am part of your coaching program, you and I will learn more together about this, will we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent.
We're actually, so the part of the foundation of building our businesses and being part of the coaching program is we help you build your business based on your personality. Right. So we went through your KPA, correct, Joanne?
We didn't do anything yet. We just
Okay.
got everything
We
signed.
just started. Yeah. So we're going to go through the KPA, and I know
I'm glad I'm so memorable, Colin.
I do these a lot. So, and I love it. But once we go through it, Joanne, I won't forget you. I promise.
No problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to take off, everybody. That was great, Colin. It was really useful.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. So, yeah, okay, I'm just reading the comments too. Awesome. So does anybody have any questions about what we talked about, what we learned? Yeah, bye, Joanne. Was it helpful today? Did you learn some stuff?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I have to run as well, like Joanne, but it was amazing. And I think to have it in terms of being able to, when you're going in with buyers, and as you're going through stuff, I'm like, oh, that's this kid with my kids, and oh, that's my husband, and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now I understand how to talk to, like, okay, so that's why they think this way, or so don't approach it like that.
Right.
You know stuff about people, but I think this really helps on every level of our life, not just in our business, but also in our personal.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, so it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing those comments. I really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Yeah, Carol, I keep seeing you in two screens.
Me?
No, Carol.
Carol.
Oh yeah.
Carol,
Yeah, I thought it was two different people. I was like, yeah, I can see that.
Are in the same room, but something's happened to one.
There we go. Just like us here.
Hold on.
all right, guys, thank you so much, Colin. It was
pleasure.
awesome.
Nice. Thanks, Janice. I appreciate it. Thanks for the
All right,
opportunity.
see you guys.
Okay, guys, enjoy your day. Good luck. Be safe.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
What do you do for a business audit?
So what I do is we have a conversation about where you are in your business. We look at how you've structured it, how long you've been in the business. We look at where you want to go, and we talk about the path to get you
Got freaking magic, do you?
there. So those little pills that, yeah, I got those limitless pills. Yeah, absolutely. I got only a couple left though. No, I'm just kidding.
What's involved in that though? Is that like a course? Is it coaching? Like and of course we do stuff virtual now or
So
like-
the audit is typically a half an hour, right? 20 minutes to half an hour, right? And then what you can decide off of that is if you want to join coaching.
okay.
Join coaching. If you and typically what we do with coaching is we build your business based on your personality. Like I said,
Mhm.
business is universal. It's not textbook, right? It's changed so much in the last even decade that more people are educated now. Okay, and each of the business or the industries are so populated now with competitors. We need to make it more unique.
Mhm.
So it's less features and benefits. It's more who can you connect with. It's about the conversation and converting based on conversation as opposed to, yeah, here's all the things I offer. Well, you and 400 other people offer the same thing. So what we do with coaching is a couple things. One, I come to meet you where you are, right? I don't bring you to where I think you need to be or where I am at. I come to the front line with you. And what we do is we talk about the 5 models of business, right? And with the MREA book, there's 4 of them that are in there. So the lead gen model, the economic model, the budget model, and the organizational model. What's not in there is the accountability model. So we talk about that as well. Okay. And what we do is we build models and systems into your business. Have you ever heard of the conversation of E to P or entrepreneurial to purposeful in that glass ceiling or natural ability? So what happens is every year we'll wake up and every year I'll sell 80 houses, no problem. I'll always do it within 5 to 10% every year. As soon as you put models and systems in, you're going to break through that ceiling, and that 80 units could turn into 180 units because now you have models and systems. There's only so far that naturally we can go. And then with coaching, we work on implementing these models. Okay. But on a needed basis. So I don't try to say, here, implement the 4 models. Boom. It's like, we're going to take one. We start at one thing and we look at the lead domino that should you do that, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. Okay. And that's how the progression goes. One of the things I always say is real estate is like an elephant. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You can't eat the whole thing at once. Now, some parts of the elephant are more chewy than others, But what we do is we break it down into the small chunks and we implement piece by piece by piece. Like I said in the beginning of the call, Keller Williams is an amazing training company, a tech company and training company and coaching company. But what happens is there's a little bit of there's a gap there where we're so absorbed in the training that after we shut our computers off or leave the training room, it's like, how do I implement that?
Yeah.
What do I do? So then we go back to, well, this worked for me, so I'll just continue to do it this way. And then, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. If you want different goals, if you want different things to happen, you have to become different. So through coaching, we do set the goals. We talk about who you have to become. We implement strategies. And we basically develop a pathway to get there step by step. And you're not alone. So we meet weekly to make it happen. That's what we do.
And you're good with feral people?
I'm good with, sorry?
Good with feral people?
Feral people.
Feral, like wild, a little bit on the wild side, or like for me, like I'm the worst one to be coached. You can't coach me. I swear to God.
Yeah, I'm also high D, so I'm always up for a challenge. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I'm warm and fuzzy until I don't have to be warm and fuzzy. So there's some conversation. I'm not afraid of having difficult conversations, and sometimes, listen, I've made CEOs cry. And I'm not in the business of making people cry, but what happens is you recognize sometimes that you're the problem. And I'll hold the mirror up and say, listen, I'm not the bad guy here. Now you think about any business or any sports team, right? When the team performs well, who's the first person to get blamed or get fired?
Yeah,
Look at Montreal. Team's sucking win right now, and coach and assistant coach gone. The players aren't playing.
yeah, it happens to realtors too.
We're the first person to get blamed. Exactly. So what happens is we have those conversations about, so whose problem is it? Is it mine? Maybe I'm not doing it properly. Okay, no problem. How do you want me to fix it? So one of the first questions I ask as well is, how blunt can I be with you? Because some people, like high eyes, are like, well, I'm a little delicate. I always say I bruise like a peach, so be gentle. Honest, but be gentle. And then I got deep people that are like, no, I need to be motivated by the stick, not the carrot. I'm like, okay, I got sticks. I got big sticks. It's fine. Don't worry. I got paddles. So we customize the coaching around what your needs are. I don't put a square peg in a round hole. It's who you are. Let's build it around you. Okay. Cool.
How
Any other
long does it take? Like, you've been doing this for a while now, and you know, like the 4 different personality traits that you work with. How long for you does it take to talk to someone and kind of realize like what they are?
13 seconds usually. One question.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Cool. No, because like obviously that's really interesting. You know, being realtors, like it would help in so many situations. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like I'd like to know more about it. So then when you do deal with customers, you know how to approach a situation better.
No,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great that you can kind of learn, like, you know, to see what they are that quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, it doesn't happen overnight, right? But at the same time, it's once you start to learn kind of the characteristics of them, all you got to do, you just ask questions and you'll be able to pick them off real quick. Right. It's literally, okay. One of the questions I always ask, and one of them is tell me a little bit about your house. Soon as they start talking, I know who I'm dealing with. You never want to start with a yes or no. Like the great questions get great answers, right? So, you know, when they say there's no such thing as a stupid question, there's an inefficient question. Right? I always say, if you want to get content, if you want to get information, don't ask a closed-ended question. And you'll hear myself catch myself all the time when I ask a question, but I'll think about the question I just asked and I'll be like, no, hold on. Let me rephrase that question, or let me ask that a different way. Because what happens is I catch myself and I'm like, I'm not going to get all the information I need just by asking it that way. I'm either going to get a yes or a no, or I'm going to get a limited amount of info. So let me rephrase that. And then I ask it again, and then I let you go. And I get all the information I need. And I can help you with that. Absolutely.
No, that's awesome because I know there's another like personality test that you can take, and there's like 16 of them.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's only 4 to this, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's variations, like there's variations of this as well. Like I think Tony Robbins does like the color one. It's very similar. I use the disc just because there is a lot of depth to it. And I use it in multiple aspects of my business and my personal life.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this was great. I gotta go, but it was nice seeing your face, Colin.
It's good to see you
I
guys.
think it's
Thank
the
you
first
so
time.
much. Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Enjoy your day. Talk
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye. Be safe. Bye.
Bye.